Okay, well, good evening and welcome everyone. So happy all of you are here this evening. My name is Tracy Irby and I'm the director at TWU Center for Women Entrepreneurs. Our center is part of the larger Jane Nelson Institute for Women's Leadership at Texas Women's University. They're dedicated to preparing more women to take on successful roles in business and public service. The three specialized centers, our center, the Center for Student Leadership, and the Center for Women in Government, ensure women have the education to establish careers as successful executives, skills for building entrepreneurial businesses, and the framework needed to run for public office. Our center was funded in 2015 by the state legislature just to help promote women entrepreneurs anywhere in the state of Texas. You don't have to be affiliated with the TWU university system. So before we get started, we have Donalisa Stinyard on. She is our associate director. Do you have anything before we get started, Donalisa?
Yes, I just was typing it. If you have any questions during the presentation, if you will throw those in the chat and I'll grab them for our presenters at the end.
Great. Thank you, Donalisa. All right, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our speakers. I'm going to introduce all three. They are using the same presentation, and the presentation will be sent out afterwards along with handouts for everybody. So first, I'd like to introduce Shauna Smythe. Shauna is the Hub Associate at TWU, and she is building out their Hub program through education, service, and system design. As a Mexican-American small business owner of 10 years, Shauna is able to bring a unique perspective to this role at TWU and is passionate about advocating for fellow small business and providing support in navigating the procurement process. Welcome, Shauna.
Hello.
Next, we have Mariah Thompson-Carter. She is the marketing coordinator for the historically underutilized business Hub program under the Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts. Mariah has worked with the Comptroller's Statewide Procurement Division for 2 years, during which time she learned various Texas procurement laws and vendor resources. Her current role is providing outreach and marketing for the statewide Hub program and educating small businesses on how to do business with the state of Texas. Welcome, Mariah. And thirdly, we have Ms. Blender Hill, MBA, CTCM, Historically Underutilized Business Hub Coordinator of the Teacher Retirement System of Texas. Blender Hill is a hub coordinator with the Teachers Retirement System of Texas, TRS. She has over 12 years of experience working with small minority and women-owned businesses. Blender has a BA in Mass Communications from Grambling State University and an MBA in Finance from LeTourneau University. She enjoys helping small business owners connect the dots as they obtain success. Blender currently lives in Austin. Welcome, Blender. We're now going to turn this over to you three.
Linda, are you going to share your screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, can everybody see the PowerPoint right now?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
it's just not in the presentation mode, Blender.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Let me try again. It is on my screen. Let's see if I can get it.
Oh, yeah, that looks good.
Perfect.
Okay, thanks.
Nice. All right. We'll get us started. It's such an honor to speak with you all. By the end of this hour, we hope to empower each and every one of you to tap into this massive new revenue source for your business. Next slide. Right. So last year, the state of Texas spent over $8 billion on other services, which is one of 6 hub categories. This is a category I'm told that many of your businesses would fall under. Each category has a hub utilization goal, this one being 26%. And in 2023, Texas missed the mark by 11.4%. That's $912,572,850. So if you're a consultant, a therapist, a photographer, or any of the myriad of businesses that fall under other services, you should know that as a woman entrepreneur, that money was earmarked for you. And it was probably spent elsewhere because we couldn't find you because you weren't listed in the statewide hub directory, which is where we all look. The good news is that after today, you're going to know how to become hub certified and get listed in this directory that every state agency and university uses. Next slide. So let's get into it. You may be asking, what even do universities buy? I certainly didn't know, honestly, before I started researching for this very presentation. So I looked into all of the purchase orders that TWU made in the last 6 months and was able to find these general categories so you could get a good idea of what universities are looking for. If you don't see your business represented here, don't worry. This is just a small fraction of what I saw. But if you do see your business listed here, next slide. I encourage you to check out our website and learn how to get set up as a supplier with TWU. And actually, I encourage all of you to check out our website regardless, as I've poured a lot of research into this, like regarding the entire statewide hub program, but through the lens of a small business owner who just happens to also work as a hub associate. Next slide. And on that note, let's dive into the statewide hub program with Mariah.
Thank you, Shauna, and thank you so much, TWU, for the opportunity to present and educate the small businesses and entrepreneurs about the Statewide Hub program. So again, my name is Mariah Thompson-Carter, and I'm the Statewide Hub Program Marketing Coordinator. I will be covering the Statewide Hub program when it comes to this presentation, what the Hub program is, the Hub certification, also the compliance piece of the Hub program itself, and then I'll turn it over to Ms. Blender Hill, who will cover the vendor resources and end it with the questions and answers. Next slide. Okay, so we'll go over the Hub program overview. Next slide. So the HUB program, also the historically underutilized business HUB program, is a component of the statewide procurement division at the Comptroller of Public Accounts Office. So when we talk about the HUB program, the Comptroller Office is the one who administers the rules and guides for the statewide hub program. And all of those rules can be found under our Texas Government Code 2161. Then when we talk about the state agencies and state universities' internal hub program and supplier diversity programs, the statewide hub program is the one who administers the rules and guides for their internal program. And all these codes, the Texas Administrative Codes, Title 34, Chapter 20, Subchapter D, Division 1, Section 20.281 to 20.298, That is where all our codes can be found. So let's say, for instance, you want to deep dive, you want to learn exactly what we have in statute for the subcontracting opportunities or the mentor protege program, or what is the hub coordinator's responsibility. You can find all the information about each topic through our codes, our TAC codes. Next slide. Okay, next we'll talk about the statewide hub utilization goals. So each agency, they make a good faith effort to meet and exceed these goals for their internal hub program and supplier diversity program. And as a whole, as a state hub program, collectively, we try to make a good faith effort to meet and exceed these goals as well as a whole. This is the standard goals for all state agencies unless they request to modify it. And that is a procedure that they would have to go through. Again, those are only for some agencies that might not have construction projects. They might want to reduce those construction percentages to a different percentage. Again, they would have to request that. So when we talk about the utilization goals, this is the standard goals that we reference to. Next slide. Perfect. So next we'll go into the policy and purpose of the statewide hub program. So the policy is to encourage the use of hubs in the state procurement process. The purpose is to promote good faith effort, business opportunities for all businesses in state procurement and contracting. Next slide, please. Okay, let's go into the hub program certification and compliance piece. Next slide. Okay, so just a while ago, I kind of explained to you all how the Comptroller's office is the one who administers the rules for the statewide hub program. So this is basically of a picture of how everything works. Okay, underneath the statewide hub program, you have 4 components and departments. You have the hub certification team. This is the team that you submit your application and documents to. They're the ones who review your application, and they're the ones who approve and deny you. Then we have hub compliance. We have auditors. So if you're submitting your application and we're seeing something that might cause a red flag or might cause us to go on site to your business to verify that information, then again, we're confirming that you're in compliance, that you do qualify for the certification. So we do have auditors that do on site for that. Then we have reporting and statewide expenditure. This is where our state agencies, they report to our office all their expenditure. Then we break it down to a report on how much they're using towards hubs and non-hubs. We break it down to that disparity group study, where how much percentage is going towards women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, or service-disabled veterans. So we do break that report down to a very detailed page. It is over 700 and something pages. It is very detailed, but it is a really great resource. Ms. Blender Hill will be speaking on that report later on in this presentation, but that is also a component under our office. And then also you have the education and outreach for the hubs and agencies. That is my role. That is what I do. I'm here to help you as a small business know how to do business with the state of Texas. Any information that you need or assistance you may need for the hub certification, maybe connect you with the state agencies and the hub coordinators. So again, I do a lot for you as a vendor. And then on the agency side, I help the agencies with their side as well, with events and the certification and different things like that. And then again, of course, like I stated earlier, you have the agencies and universities' internal hub programs. They work hand in hand with us because, of course, they want the hubs to be certified. So they're telling you to get hub certified so they can do business with you. The compliance piece, there's an issue with the certification, the agencies come to us and talk to us about the hub vendors. Again, expenditures, they're reporting to us, and then outreach, we're working hand in hand with them to make sure the information is out there for the vendors and for the agencies for assistance. Next slide, please. Okay, so again, we're talking about the state agencies and universities. Let's talk about their internal hub programs. So every agency that has a biannual budget that exceeds 10 million or more, they're designated to have one employee, full-time employee that is that it serve as a hub coordinator. So the hub coordinator's responsibility is to help guide and prepare hubs in their agency procurement process, and then also be the liaison for their agency and connect you to those key procurement and division staff for those agency connections, so you can put yourself out there to market yourself to them. Then you also have the agencies are required to have at least one event where they are bringing you in as a small business to learn how about their procurement process, to connect you with those purchasers, the hub coordinators, or even if they're a construction-based agency, they can bring you in to connect with their primes for subcontracting opportunities. So the agencies, the internal hub programs are required to give you, to educate you, to connect with you and network with you. And then again, like I said, the purpose is to support and guide hub businesses to be ready, capable, and able to compete in their agency's good faith effort procurement process. Next slide. Okay, so let's talk about the hub certification and who qualifies for the certification. So these are the groups that qualify for the certification, being minority-owned business, Asian American, Black American, Hispanic American, or Native American, being a American woman-owned business, or being a service-disabled veteran-owned business, but you must have a 20% disability or more to qualify for a service disabled veteran business. Next slide, please. So we talk about those groups. Those groups are the ones that qualify for our hub certification. But I do want to point out that those groups must have 51% of ownership of that business. 51% or more. So I do want to point that out. We do talk to a lot of people who maybe together, their partner, they will qualify together if they're 50-50. But if you wanted to qualify for a woman-owned or a service disabled veteran, you would have to be that 51% ownership or more. So we do look at that as well, making sure that you are the one that 51% ownership of the business. And then again, you must be a Texas resident. We do look at it and make sure that you have been in the state of Texas for a year or more. We do request your driver's license or a Texas ID. We'll ask for your property taxes or your leasing agreement to confirm that information as well. Again, you must be a U.S. resident. Texas residents, you must remain active control of your business. So a lot of women-owned businesses, we do look at if you are 51% ownership and your husband is 49% ownership, we do make sure that if anything was to happen to your husband, you would still be able to maintain control of your business and still continue your business when it comes to that trade part of it. So those are some things that we look at as well. And then your business must be primarily based in Texas. We understand you grow your business, you might have another headquarters in another state, but the main headquarters should be based in Texas, and should have a Texas property tax agreement or a leasing agreement for your company's address. And then we also look at it, making sure your company does meet the Small Business Administration SBA size standards as well for your company, whatever your field is. When you do your federal tax return, we look at that to make sure your company is under that that volume, that gross amount as well. Next page, please. Okay, so there are 2 paths for you to get your hub certification. If you are interested, we do have 12 organizations that have a memorandum of agreement with our office, and they're all over the state of Texas. I do want to point out for Denton area, we do have the Dallas-Fort Worth Minority Supplier Development Council. They are one of our MOAs. Not only can you get your hub certification with them, you can get other certifications as well. So like the small business enterprise, the minority-owned business enterprise, the women-owned business enterprise. There's so many other federal certifications that you can get with our MOAs, or even local certifications that you can get with our MOAs, and you can get it all at once. Now, the only thing about our MOAs is You will have to contact them about their processing. Some of our MOAs, you have to be a member with them, be one of their members within their organization to receive access to those certifications, or you're paying for a federal certification. And since the hub certification is free, they add it as an add-on. So again, you will have to contact one of our MOAs to find out exactly what their process is to get the certification, and then also how long the certification is good for. Our office with the Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts Office, our certification is good for 4 years. Some of our certification, our MOAs, their certification is valid for 6 months to 4 years. So it just depends on who you go through. But again, with our office, we only certify for the Texas Hub certification. So it's good for 4 years. And then you will just renew then. But again, we always recommend looking into our MOAs. They can give you a lot of different vendor resources that we cannot give to you or offer to you. Anything from maybe mentorship, connecting you to corporations and private sectors, and maybe federal project, your bid opportunities, all of that. These MOAs can provide a lot more vendor resources for you as well. Next slide, please. Okay, and then again, like I was stating, you can also go through our office. Our application is free. It is online. We'll talk about that shortly. The certification is good for 4 years. Once you receive your hub certification, whether you go through our office or through one of our MOAs, your company will have a free profile directory. And on your profile will have your business name, your business description, where you're located out of, your bid contacts, email, your highway districts, basically stating all the areas you can provide your services in, your NIGP codes, which are the whatever you provide services or products, you will have to go identify those NIGP codes to that best describes your services and products, and add those to your profile. So again, those are things that as purchasers and hub coordinators, we look at when we look at your profile. So you do get a free profile directory for receiving your hub certification. And then again, the recertification is free as well. We do recommend right now, since we are getting backlogged with the certification process, to process your recertification application 4 to 6 months prior to your expiration date, so you don't have to worry about it lapsing. And then again, you get free assistance and support. So again, you get my team, our certification team. If you have questions about the documents, the meeting minutes, maybe have questions about your partnerships and how to submit the hub certification with that, our team is there to help you with that, to answer those questions. I'm there for any vendor who might need help and hands-on one-on-ones. I do that as well. The what next piece, I can help you with that as well. Next slide, please. Okay, and since we were talking about the hub certification, if anyone is interested in submitting the hub certification application within our system, on our website, and I'll show you shortly how to get to our website and how to find these links. But on our website, we do have a hub forms, hub certification resources, where we have our downloadable required documents checklist by business structure. So now you can go to our website and you can download those checklists, gather all your documents that we are requesting for your business structure, upload them to your computer as a PDF form. So when you're ready to go do our application through our system, it makes the process so much easier for you. And again, you can find that checklist and the statement of eligibility, which will be one of those requirement documents. We will have that on our website for you to download, print, sign, and then also an affidavit for any business that is a startup business. You have not filed any federal return, you can actually submit a affidavit stating that you are a brand new business, and we will accept that instead of your federal tax return, which we do require for you for your certification application. But again, you can fill out that affidavit instead. So all that information can be found on our website. And then also the hub reports that Ms. Blender Hill will talk about later on. You can find that report on that same page as well. Next slide, please. Okay, so next we'll talk about our system. So again, where you go to submit your application and upload those documents. So our Texas Statewide Hub system, it is texashub.gov2g.com. This is where you'll go to submit those, like I said, to submit the application and the documents. With our system, since we work with a third party, our third party vendor works with a lot of different other organizations and federal certification agencies. So if you received another certification from another agency, maybe signed up for the centralized master bidders list, even though you have not been in our system before, our system will recognize you and say, hey, you already have a user account. It's because of one of those scenarios I stated before. It's fine. Just go to forget password, put in your email address, and get a new password to log into our system. Again, if you want to look up your account, it'll have you look it up by your EIN, federal tax return number. Or again, you can create an account if you never received anything. Like this is your first time go around, just go in and just create a new account. It's no problem at all. But again, this is where you will go in to submit our application and upload those documents into the system. Next slide, please. Okay, I just wanted to give you all a quick little snapshot of how the online certification process works. So once you submit your application and upload the documents, the application will not be assigned to a certification analyst until 15 to 19 weeks later. So again, like I was stating, we are a little backlog. So when I state submit your application to you receiving your hub certification, it's going to be about 6 to 7 months with our office. Again, with our MOAs, partner organization, their process time might not be as much as ours because they're doing only members or not as many applications as our team is. Since we're statewide, we get applications from all over the state of Texas. So again, right now, processing time from beginning to end to receiving your certification is about 6 to 7 months. Once you get your certification, again, you'll have access to print your certification through our system. Any communication from our team. So let's say, for instance, you submit your application, but they're still asking for documents saying that this document does not suffice. They're needing this. You will get those email communications through our system, and then you can upload those documents again through our system. If our team needs to send the application back to you, meaning that you did not sign it, or there is some input entry information that is required that you did not fill in, then they will send your application back to you again through the system where you'll get those communications to finish off what you needed to for that application process. Again, once you get the hub certification, you can print it. You can show it, print it off and show it to the primes or the hub coordinators, but you also get that free online directory. Our on-site auditors, they will also email you through our system as well if they need to do an on-site to your location. And then again, like I stated before, the certification is free and it's good for 4 years. Next slide. Okay, and then once you are hub certified, I know with all the different certifications, the process, the time it takes for you to gather all those documents, the process it takes for you to submit everything, upload everything, the process it takes to even to get it. You know, I understand how it can be, but we have a logo now. Since you're good for 4 years, you can utilize this hub certified vendor logo to put on your business cards, your website, your capability statements. You know, wear it proudly and use it proudly for your marketing to state that you are a hub certified vendor. Next slide. Okay, so I'm going to cover a quick snapshot of our statewide hub program. So again, a lot of the things that I will be speaking about or spoke about or Ms. Blender Hill will speak about, you can find a lot of these resources on our website. So how can you find our website? Next page, please. You can find our website under the Comptroller of Public Accounts website. So comptroller.texas.gov. Underneath the purchasing tab, underneath vendor resources, you'll see it says historically underutilized business. You can click on that. We do have our own website. You can type in as well, Texas, the number 4hubs.org. You'll see that at the end of the presentation. That is another way to get to our website, but then also this is an easier way as well. Both places will get you to our homepage. Next slide. Okay, so on our website, again, like I said, stated on the right side underneath the relative links, you can find a lot of information. Again, I was talking about the tax codes, the Texas government code. You can find those codes on our website. You can find our hub coordinators. So we do have a contact list of over 175 agencies and universities' internal hub programs. If you go download the contact list, there's over 350 contacts for hub coordinators for the state of Texas. So again, if there is a particular agency you're interested in doing business with, you can download that file and you'll be able to find that agency and who the contacts are for their hub program. So you can network, connect with those agencies and connect with those key purchasers. Again, also on our website, we have events. Like I stated before, each agency is required to have an event. So we do have 2 different events links. You have the statewide sponsored events, where if our office is hosting any events or sponsoring any events, you can find those events on that page. Then we have the calendar of events, which is also our education and outreach event page. That is where all of our agencies, universities, MOAs, partner organizations, small business development councils, Apex accelerators, anyone who has workshops or events that they want these women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, service disabled veteran businesses to come to learn about how to do business with them or how to help you with vendor resources or anything that they might have. They will post those events on the calendar of events website and on our ELF calendar. Next slide. Okay, well, I think that is all that I have right now about the Statewide Hub program, the certification. If you have questions, you can ask more at the end. Right now, I am going to turn it over to Ms. Blender Hill with Texas Retirement Systems, who will be covering the vendor resources that our state agencies, our state purchasers, and hub coordinators utilize on a regularly. Blender, is all yours. Blender, you're muted. I'm sorry, can't hear you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Miss Mariah, and thank you, TWU, for this invitation. My name is Blender Hill. I'm a hub coordinator with Teacher Retirement System of Texas, and we're going to go through the vendor resources. And I call them vendor resources, but also marketing intelligence tools, because as a small business, there's a lot of hats that you have to wear, and you also have to do your research and market yourself. So think of hub certification as another marketing tool to add to all the other things that you do every day to keep the lights on and tell people what you do. So we're going back to the website that Miss Mariah mentioned. And on the website there at the bottom, we're going to talk about the NIGP codes right now. So what is an NIGP code? It stands for National Institute of Government Purchasing Code. Purchasers use these class item codes to describe the products or services they search for to purchase. This ensures that a good faith effort is given. Bidders are encouraged to also use these NIGP codes to best describe the good or service that you are trying to sell. So it's very important that you use the right code. And then here at the bottom on the note, make sure you're looking at 001 to 899 are commodities or purchase or products, and 900 to 999 are services. And this is important because if you're selling a computer, make sure that it's under 899. But if you're selling a computer service, or you're going to actually touch the product or service, it's going to be in the 900s. Now we're going to go into how you actually search for an NIGP code. So in this example, we're looking at agricultural crops. So you would actually go in that red box and put in the keyword for what you're searching for. And once you put that keyword in for agricultural crops, we get class code number 19. Then if you drill down, and what you're going to do, and you're going to drill down and you see the class code is number 19 and the item code is 41. So if you use 01941, then we know that you're selling fruits or citrus, using this NIGP code search. Another tool that we have is the CMBL, and that is also is also seen here on this website. And remember, it is Texas4hubs.org, or Texas the numeral 4 hub.com or .org. So the CMBL stands for the Centralized Masters Bidders List. It's the state's official procurement vendor list. There's a $70 annual fee to be added to the list. There's certification is not required to be on the CMBL, but you want to look at it because it's going to be a good marketing tool for you, because the state purchasers were required to use the CMBL. But you as a vendor, you're responsible to make sure that you have your address correct, that you have your contact information correct, and that you have the correct NIGP code. I can't stress that enough. So in this snapshot, we're going into the CMBL. And in the box, you'll see how we can search. We can search for CMBL members only, hubs only, hubs on the CMBL, or all vendors. On this next slide, we talk about hub certified vendors. If I want to just type in to see if Miss Mariah company, I'm just making that up, is certified, I would just type in her name here, and then it would show me if she's certified, what she's certified under, her expiration date, and where she does business. This search is the one that I use a lot, and a couple of things I want to tell you guys here. So NIGP codes, we saw those, they're 5-digit codes. So here we're going to put in the first 3 numbers of the 5-digit under the class code, the last 2 numbers in the item code, and then the highway district, like where you're going to actually work at, in the next box. But I want to make sure that you guys note, if you don't take notes on anything else, make sure you use the right NIGP code for the goods and services that you provide. And you also, when you build your profile, there's a couple things that you can use, tools that help us as hub coordinators. There's a business description box there. Go ahead and use that and write 1 or 2 sentences about exactly what you do. Because when we're going out to search for you as therapists, realtors, insurance agents, we're going to go, and if I use this multiple vendor search, I'm going to see everybody that's under that area. But a lot of times I will look at everybody, but if it's a bidder or a prime contractor, they're required to do 3. So you want to make sure that they know exactly what you do. You don't want to just have it as Blender Hill Company and not have a description, because a lot of people won't take the time to actually call you and figure out what you're doing. So make sure you have the business description, make sure you have the right NIGP code, and also use this tool to find out what your competitors may be doing, because it may be another code that you can pick up. So I just want to make sure to give you those tips as a hub coordinator from our point of view. I mentioned the business districts, the highway districts. So here is a list of them. Austin's in highway district number 14. Denton and Denton County is in highway district number 18. So on your hub certification form, and when you register for NIGP codes, don't, for the CMBL, don't put every district on here if you're not going to travel or be willing to work in all those districts. Just put the districts in that apply to you, and just put the NIGP codes in that apply to you. Because when we call and say, hey, can you do this service? It's kind of a disservice to say, no, I can't. Okay, Now we're going to talk about the bid thresholds. So there's different things that we do depending on if it's under $10,000. A lot of times we'll directly go to a hub. If it's 10 to 25,000 or over 25,000. So over 25,000, state agencies are required to send the notice of procurement opportunity to all registered vendors that are active on the CMBL. And then also look at this last bullet. Bid responses must match the NIGP class item codes applicable to the products and or services being procured by the agencies and are relevant to the Texas highway districts where vendors can provide their products and services. So keep that in mind. These are the things that we're looking at every day. Now we're going to look at another marketing intelligence tool, because you're going to use all this, right? When you're doing your business plan as a business. You can use this electronic state business daily. Our purchasers must post any procurements that are over 25,000. You can use this to search by a lot of different ways. And the search can also show you past, canceled, and current postings. If you're looking for where to find it, and again, you'll have this handout, you're going to look at this website, texassmartbuy.com/ESBD. You can look at it in the 3 ways in the 3 red boxes to get to it. Once you're in it, it's got a wealth of information, and be patient because there's so many solicitations and so much history in it. It takes a minute when you're doing a search. But at the top in box number 1, you can search by solicitations. You can search by awards that are no solicitation, and you can look at pre-solicitations. So depending on where you are, you'll select one of those. In box number 2, you can use a keyword search. So if I'm looking for healthcare or whatever, if I'm looking for marketing, I can do a keyword search. If I want to look at what opportunities Shauna has at TWU, I can go up in box 2 in that left corner and drop down and find her in TWU or at TRS. So you can search a number of different ways. Box 3 just kind of has like a sample there. But we're going to go ahead in the next slide and just blow that sample up. Remember, you don't have to sign in here. But what you'll get in that, this is just a blown up version of box 3. You'll see the solicitation contact information. If it's an active solicitation, to make sure that everything is fair, you can only talk to that person in that box, that purchaser. That way, if you ask a question, any information that they give you, they have to share it with everybody so that you don't have an unfair advantage. This is when a solicitation is active. You'll also get the NIGP codes that they're looking at. You'll get the solicitation description. You'll also get the instructions on the bid, and look at all of that, because if there's any kind of addendum, if I asked a question that they answered or another vendor, you'll be able to see it there, and that may be useful information for you if you're putting together a bid. So make sure you know all the information here. And then I've seen some agencies that will actually have you sign that you've read all the addenda and that you know exactly what's going on with that solicitation, okay? Now we're going to go to another marketing intelligence tool. So every year, the Statewide Hub program that Miss Mariah works for, they do an annual report and a semi-annual report. And one of the reports is this detail by object code. And on that code, what we did was we used Miss Donna Lisa. We talked to her about the background, what services that you guys provide. And on this search, what I used was object code number 7248. We'll talk about object codes too. They're 4 digits. I used the search on this report. I looked at the last fiscal year, which is 2023, the whole year, and then that code. And then in this report on the object code 7248, you see the agency code. All the agencies and universities have numbers, the name of the agency, the total spend amount they used in this code and the percentage. And this last column shows you the total hub amount and percentage. So that's what I looked at in working on the next chart for you guys, because you want to look at this and kind of, which agencies buy or sell or buy the products or services that you're selling. So I made this as a quick start guide for you guys. So use this as a resource. So Ms. Donnelly, I heard you when you were asking, and she's looking out for everybody who's here. We looked at the professions: coaching, counseling, health, insurance, real estate, the agencies. So I listed 2 or 3 agencies that were high spenders in that area. We used the NIGP codes. Remember, we use these on the CMBL, but we also have another set of codes that we use in the state, and that's the object code, and they're 4-digit numbers. So I've given you guys the object codes. And depending on what you're doing, sometimes they overlap. So just use this as a resource and then go back to the reports. And remember, it does change, but this is just something that you can start with, and it's not all inclusive, okay? Another tool that we have that a lot of people don't know about is the Mentor Protege program. If anybody out there's ever had a mentor, you know how resourceful it can be. And in our Mentor Protege program, that's also going to be on the Texas4Hubs.com website, and we see where it is on the slide. But you can also, in the Mentor Protege program, the mentors are generally a larger company. They've got a lot of contracts and experience with the agency, and they volunteer to mentor a smaller company that's a hub that doesn't have that experience. So they can give you a wealth of knowledge, and sometimes you can use a mentor protege opportunity once it's set up with Miss Mariah's office. You can use them across different agencies. And I've seen mentor protege agreements where they work in private sector and public sector and across different agencies. So it's something really good if you're interested in. So every agency and university has a different mission and responsibility. The hub coordinator and procurement director know the entity's procurement needs best. Research the agencies and universities and determine which entity buys the products and services you provide. To participate, contact the hub coordinators to request assistance in finding a mentor. Before we close, I wanted to give you one other resource. That's the Governor's Small Business Resource Portal. They have additional resources and workshops and tools that you can use as you kind of market yourself to the state of Texas. And I want to give you a couple takeaways and steps for success as we close. One, Ms. Mariah went over the certification process. There's the 2 free options. You can go to the partner organizations. That may be a little bit quicker, but if you do that, if you're looking at more than one certification, that's a good route. If you only want to do hub certification, then work with the Texas State Comptroller's website. The good thing is when you do this, get all your documents together and save them, because you're going to need them more than once. And it's a good resource to get you prepared for everything. So get all your documents together for your business structure and everything, because you're going to use them for certification. Also, with the outside vendor, a lot of the people in Texas are using the same vendor. So as Miss Mariah said, when you do the search, maybe you got certified in City of Denton, but it may populate here because we're all using the same portal. We've got the same vendor behind the scenes. Also, make sure that you have the NIGP codes that are relevant. Less is better. The game is not to put all the codes down, because if a bidder only has to reach out to 3 people, that's a disservice to both of you guys, because it takes a lot of time for you to answer calls and phone calls and emails, only to find out that you don't provide the services that they're requesting. Keep your contact information accurate and up to date. Please consider the CMBL, because it is a marketing tool. It's $70. I'm sure that you can probably, talk to your accountant or bookkeeper about writing that off. or putting that as a marketing expense for your company. You don't have to be certified to be on the CMBL, but it is a good resource. And remember that we will be looking at those. The anti-GP codes, make sure that you have those accurate. Be proactive. Look at the ESBD, look at the CMBL, look at not only what you have, but look at the competitors and what they have. Maybe there's something there that you can consider. Maybe there's some organizations there. And then one other thing I wanted to tell you, sorry, about the CMBL, is there's 3 tabs on there. There's a business description there that you put in, but if you had a contract with us at the state, in that far right-hand corner, we grade you or evaluate you. So you can also look at the grades. How did they do on the last contract that they had? How did your competitor do? And then look at their bids and stuff. Maybe that's something you need to look at as you get ready to bid for the next project. And then finally, research the agencies and consider a mentor-protege agreement. And with that, does anybody have any questions?
So Mariah has done a really great job. She's gone through the chat and answered most of the questions. And really quick, we will download the chat and send it out. So if anybody else had a specific question, but there was one, I think it might have been from Facebook. They wanted to know if you could clarify whether the certification is beneficial or even necessary for a nonprofit.
That's a good question. Right now, the certification is not available for nonprofits. You have to be a for-profit business entity in order to be certified. And I'm sorry about that, but you do have to be a for-profit agency. There's other social service contracts that we have as government agencies, so you can look at that. That's another venue for you, but not as a certified vendor.
Okay. And then we had, if you offer a product and service, if you offer both a product and service, do you have 2 different codes?
Yes, because each thing that you have, that you offer, will have its own code. And like we went through, and Mariah and Shawnee, you guys can come off mute too, but as we went through those codes under 899, remember 1 was a product. So if it's a product, the number will be from 001 to 899. If it's a service, that number will be from 900 to 999. So it would be in that instance, you would have 2 different numbers, and that's okay.
Okay, perfect. Then we had a question, is there a checklist that we can follow step by step for engaging with this process with purchasers or mentors?
There's not a checklist for purchasers or mentors. There is a checklist for certification. I think for the checklist would be do all the things that you know to do, right? In marketing your business. I'm a hub coordinator. Mariah's Miss Mariah. She's more formal than me. She's a marketing coordinator. And Miss Shauna is a hub coordinator that's working with their hub coordinator program there. So come to us and use this as a resource. Also look at the ESBD and all of that, and look at the other organizations and what they buy. Start there. And then sometimes we may not at TRS provide that good or service, but I can, refer you to other agencies that you may start with, depending on what you do.
Okay, great. So I'm trying to wrap my head around the CMBL. I understand the benefits, but how is it different from the hub?
I can do this one, Blender. So the centralized master bidders list, anyone can register for that. So you don't have to apply for the hub certification. You have to qualify and you have to apply for the certification. The centralized master bidders list, any vendor who wants to do business with the state of Texas can register to be an active bidder for the state of Texas. So again, you don't have to be a Texas business. You can be outside of the state. You can even be outside of the country and state that you want to provide your service, your products, your whatever you have for the state of Texas. You register. You'll create a profile. You'll get a profile just like the hub certification, where it'll list your business description, your highway districts, your NIGP codes, and you register, you pay $70 for it. So $70 a year, and you receive notifications of those RFQs, RFPs, solicitation bid opportunities from these agencies that are looking for your service. So again, when you create your profile, you're identifying your products and services by those NIGP codes. And then just like Ms. Blender Hill showed you, we go in to find vendors by those NIGP codes. We look for CMBL vendors, because not all procurement processes, we're not always looking for hubs. Hubs could be used for like smaller procurements or subcontracting opportunities, but we are required to use vendors on the centralized master bidders list. When it's 25,000 or more, we have to send out those bid opportunities and notify vendors of those bid opportunities by those NIGP codes that you put on your profile. And then also, again, any opportunity from 10,000 to 25,000, we have to find minimum three vendors that are active on the centralized master bidders list, and then 2 must be hub certified. So for you as a business, you can be both. Right now you want to receive those bid opportunity notifications. You can register today. You can pay your $70. You're active 30 minutes later. So you're not missing out on those bid opportunities or bid notifications from the state purchasers. Where again, for the hub certification, you will have to qualify, you would have to apply, and then that takes about 6 to 7 months. So again, you can do both. You can have both for marketing. I hope that answers your question.
Another question, is there a glossary for the abbreviations?
We were working on that. We are working. I know there's a lot of acronyms with our program, NIGP codes and CMBL, but it is on our website. But do you have something, Shauna? Shauna has something. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. As a newcomer, I just started in February, this was the first thing where I was like, what do all these letters mean? And so I gathered them all up and I put them on the TWU website. I just linked it in the chat right now, but it's got the most commonly used acronyms there and what they mean. And then a lot of them have a link to describe more of what it means and goes into it.
Perfect.
Mariah, going back to what you were explaining, I think Honey wanted to know, does that affect your hub registration?
For the centralized master bidders list, no.
Yes. Okay.
It does not. It does not. Again, we recommend, as a statewide hub program, we do recommend you getting on the centralized master bidders list, so you're not missing out on any bid opportunity. You're receiving them. So again, on the Electronic State Business Daily, when our purchasers, when they post those bid opportunities, they go to the centralized master bidders list to go find those vendors to send out those bid opportunities on the first day that they post them. So again, if you're on Electronic State Business Daily, you're searching for those bids and you find one that you like, and you're like, okay, I need to submit my bid. We can provide all these services, but you have to submit all that documentation to them in 2 days. Now you're rushing to do to collect all that information, where if you're on the centralized master bidders list, you would have been notified of that bid opportunity the first day, and that would have gave you 2 weeks to 3 weeks to get all your documentation together to submit your proposal. So again, that is another reason why we encourage you to be on the centralized master bidders list, to be a bidder, so you won't miss out on those opportunities.
They also wanted to know, is the NIGP the same as the NAICS?
So they are similar, but they're not the same. No. NIST codes are on a federal level. That's what you use when you do your federal certifications, your federal tax returns. But for us, for our agency, our governmental purchasers, we use NIGP codes. So we find our services and products, we identify them by those NIGP codes. That's what we use. And for vendors, we require you to show us what services and products you have or you provide by those same NIGP codes.
Okay, and our last question from Kamika wanted to know, how is it that you navigate to look at the old bids to research addendums and company profiles of those awarded contracts?
I can take that one. So when you go in to ESBD, you'll see like on some of the tabs, like for example, with us at TRS, we had a broker solicitation out that we had to rebid. So you can go in there before we rebid it, you can go and see what we asked for before, what the Q&A was, all the resources that we used. You can also see who the purchaser or buyer was, so then you can contact them and ask them the questions. So if there is a resource or something out there that you want to know, use that to contact that purchaser. And also one of the addendums or handouts that we gave was a list of the codes of all the state agencies and the numbers that they have. And then you also have the link of the hub coordinator. Go to the hub coordinator and ask them to.
Tracy, we have more questions. You want to do them, or do we want to take a minute and do them, or?
Let me see. How many more do you
There's
have?
3 questions.
Okay, and then there was this real quick one. Ladies, are you good for a few more minutes?
Yeah, I'm good.
Answer questions. Okay. Then let's go ahead. Those who want to
Okay.
stay on can.
Are there guidelines on fees for services that are acceptable versus under or overpricing that could cause a vendor to miss the opportunity?
So there's not guidelines on the regular purchases, but on IT, we have another agency, Department of Information Resources. They have already negotiated the prices, and with them, you have to agree to the prices that they've already negotiated. For us, there's not going to be a guideline. That's why you're going to use like the CMBL and all the resources, or the ESBD rather, and the resources out there to see if you can reach out to the purchasers and see what the old bids are, to see if there's old contracts on the websites of the departments that you're looking at or the agencies. Sometimes those contracts are listed there, and they're doing a lot more visibility for the contracts that are over 100,000. So look at the department or the agency's websites too, to look at old bids and to find out when they're about to rebid something.
And then another question was, is Bonfire a part of your system? No.
No, it is not with the state of Texas. Again, we use the centralized master bidders list to identify vendors to send out the bid opportunities to. So again, the centralized master bidders list is the state official vendor mailing list. And then the Electronic State Business Daily is the state's official posting site where we post our bid opportunities. Now, we might have like universities that their requirements are a little different from state agencies, where they might utilize Bonfire for some things, where they will post the solicitation on the Electronic State Business Daily. But when it comes to you submitting your proposal, you might have to access Bonfire to submit your proposal only. But Bonfire is not a state vendor resource. It's the centralized master bidders list. That's where we find the vendors to send out the bid opportunities to. And then we have the Electronic State Business Daily. That is where our state agencies post their bid opportunities to.
Okay, last question. For the insurance requirements, are you able to purchase insurance after the bid is won before starting the project?
That's going to depend on the agency, and that's going to be in the documentation. So depending on the agency, just go through their documents and their terms and conditions, because that may be depending on how much the project is and the agency. They're all going to have different requirements on that. So ask the point of contact on that solicitation what they say about insurance. That's going to be the best bet.
Awesome. All right. Questions are all done.
Okay. Thank you, ladies, so much. That was such great information. I'm glad there are a lot of questions too. I know this can be so confusing for people for the first time they've ever heard about it. And I think they got some great information from all 3 of you.
Thank you.
Okay, and there, C1 says best meeting I've had in a very long time. So thank you so much for being here. Donalisa, do you have anything for anyone?
Just a reminder that the replay will go out. The slide deck will be in it. There'll be the handout. I believe there are a couple events that are coming up. I have an event brochure. All of that will be in a folder that will be sent out tomorrow for everybody, as well as I will download the chat and make sure that everybody has a copy of that. Blender has her hand up.
Hey, one more thing, you guys. So if you are ready to go to the next level, on July 11th, in the resources that Donalisa is going to send out, we are going to have a pre-certification workshop. So if you haven't got enough of me and Miss Mariah, we're going to do that on July 11th. It's going to be hybrid, in person and online. On the flyer, it'll be an Eventbrite registration link that you can register. So if you are ready to like come to the certification workshop and actually start uploading the documents, then join us on July 11th online.
I will make sure everyone has that.
Great. Thank you, Blender. Do you do that more than once a year?
No, this is our first time.
Oh.
And we're doing it together, right?
Okay, thank you. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Hope everybody has a great evening and that we see you again soon.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank
Good
you.
night. Bye-bye.